Millions of viewers watch pro wrestling every week, making it America's most popular sports entertainment. Recently, more fans watched WrestleMania 3 than any other indoor sporting event in the United States. But all is not as it seems. The two wrestlers you are about to see on this tape are superstars of the sport, having battled on national TV, major arenas throughout the country, and around the globe from Japan to the Middle East. What happens when these two wrestlers get a raw deal from their chosen profession? They don't get mad, they get even. They have gone to great lengths to protect their identities, donning masks and tights. Never again will you ask, is it real or is it fake? Because now, for the first time ever, they're ready to reveal. Secrets of pro wrestling. To further protect their identities, the wrestlers have refused to talk on this tape. However, everything you'll hear in the following segments comes straight from the horse's mouth. No holds barred. The first thing a wrestler learns is how to fall properly. In wrestling lingo, it's called taking a bump. To make each fall look brutal and yet not have to send his weekly paycheck straight to a chiropractor, every wrestler has a standard approach. When any contact is made, he throws out his feet, lands flat on his upper back, and breaks the fall by slapping his arms to the canvas. This move is called a shoulder tackle. It's a common fall in pro wrestling. Although the contact is different, notice that he takes the fall in the same exact manner. Here's a nice punch to the side of the jaw. Although the contact is always different, the bump remains the same. What do you wrestling fans notice different about this move? Yeah, it's the old coconut headbutt. What doesn't change? Taking a bump. That's what. Watch how he takes the fall. His feet lunge out, he lands on his back, and slaps his arms on the mat. Running the ropes in pro wrestling is what helps make this sports entertainment so exciting. It also adds a lot of movement, and that makes for fast-paced action. Every wrestler takes the ropes the same way. He catches the rope under his right arm and uses the momentum to catapult him to the next rope. These are reversals off the ropes. Wrestlers frequently use these to set up for some heavy-duty action. As for turnbuckles, they're taken in the same fashion every time. The blow is dispersed between the first and second turnbuckles. When the wrestler hits those buckles, you should get that nasty pop. In wrestling, the name of the game is getting over on the crowd. Wrestlers define the big sell as reacting to the blow or the move with a performance worthy of an Academy Award. Watch out! He's choking this guy to death on the ropes. Is he really? Or are they just selling the move? Now, watch the sequence without the wrestler selling it. Would you buy this? Hell no! You want to see this. A helpless wrestler being choked by his vicious opponent, arms flailing, gasping for breath. Hey, wait a minute. He's wailing that guy and nothing happened. Check it out now when the wrestler sells. Convincing, huh? Again, without the sell. And now, with the sell. And you've been buying this all these years? Imagine if you went to the arena and saw a body slam where the wrestler just got up like it was nothing. All these wrestlers have natural acting ability. This slam becomes believable when he clutches his lower back and moans in pain. This eye gouge looks pretty funny when the wrestler doesn't sell it. But when the wrestler reacts properly to this move, he's like a blind man groping in the darkness. That's why they call it the big cell. All matches begin with a tie-up. It's the starting point of every match, like a face-off in ice hockey. From this position, the wrestlers can communicate and call the next move. Although it looks like they're really slapping it on hard, the wrestler's tie-up is as light as can be. This grueling move is called the side headlock. But wait a minute, how grueling can it really be? To save wear and tear on themselves during a match, the wrestlers apply these holds with a minimum amount of pressure. They call it being light. Since these grapplers can wrestle up to 7 matches a week, they have to learn all the shortcuts they can to make the bouts as easy as possible. Here we go with a top wrist lock test of strength. These modern-day gladiators are savagely testing their brute strength. But remember, they're not really putting any force into it, just shaking and groaning violently to convince the crowd of their Herculean struggle. Most of you fans have been buying it for years. Here's a trade secret for you. Remember it next time you're watching a match. Like all holds in wrestling, this wrist lock is applied on the left side of the body. In pro wrestling, all holds, moves, and takedowns are always performed from the left. It's just a uniform way of doing things. Watching these arm bars, again, note the use of the left arm in applying the hold. Again, there is very little pressure being used, and to help sell the move, the opponent stomps his foot on the canvas and groans in agony, clenching his fist in pain. But now that you're behind the scenes, you know it's really quite painless. Here's a series of excruciating hammer locks. Check out that left arm. By ducking back underneath, the wrestler can counter the hold and put his opponent in a hammer lock. Now, if there was any real pressure being applied, would that be possible? I doubt it. Here's a viciously applied full Nelson, a hold that can render any opponent helpless, but not if it's pro wrestling. He may be acting like a floundering fish, but he's really getting over on you. Here we go with a big hip toss. With moves of this kind, cooperation between the wrestlers is essential. The victim must spring off his toes while his opponent guides him down to the mat for a nice, crisp bump. That's a side headlock and roll. This takedown maneuver combines a side headlock with a simple rollover. Because such minimal pressure is being applied on the headlock, the victim just flows right with the move. Watch it again in slow motion. Here's a series of arm drag takedowns, a favorite of wrestlers for its acrobatic look. Wrestlers love to do what they call take their own bump. That is, as the hold is starting to be applied, they send themselves over and flow with the move. This ensures a safe landing and another night's pay.
When you watch a move like this, you wonder, why does the wrestler just stand there and let his opponent apply the hold? Cooperation, that's why. If there was no cooperation, a move like this step over wrist lock and roll wouldn't work. This hold is nothing more than a fancy way to take the opponent to the canvas. This is the old snapmare takedown. By simply spinning around and starting to apply pressure on the opponent's head, the victim is cued to send himself over in a somersault and take a bump flat on his back. Remember, it's the cooperation of both wrestlers that makes these moves so spectacular. This is the move that you fans are most familiar with. Every wrestling fan has tried a body slam on his friends at one time or another. But what you don't realize is that it would be impossible to slam a 250-pound opponent without his assistance. By posting his right hand on the other guy's left thigh and pushing upwards, the wrestler is able to slam his adversary effortlessly. Take notice how easily these guys get up after each demonstration. If they were in a match situation, they would react much differently to these holds. But we're just showing you how easy it really is. The drop kick. Here's a little trick of the trade. Watch how in stop action the toes just brush the chest and never actually make full contact. All the victim does is throw his weight back and take a nice clean bump. Now look at the slow motion. Devastating, huh? This is another combo move called the side wrist lock and roll. Tucking your opponent's arm signals him to roll over and go with the move. Again, by thrashing the feet around on the canvas, the wrestler gives the audience the feeling they're in tremendous pain. But does it look like he's in pain? No way. This aerial maneuver is called a standing leapfrog. The wrestler comes off the ropes and it's his responsibility to duck low enough to avoid serious groin injury. Another prime example of two wrestlers working together. Wham! A shoulder tackle off the ropes. It looks like a thoroughly devastating move, but watch here in our stop action. Before contact is even made, the wrestler throws his feet out and then takes his bump. Here we go with a brutal backdrop. Fans love to see a brutal backdrop. Watch here as the victim plants his hands on his opponent's back, pushes off, and is guided by his opponent into a perfect somersault, landing flat on his back. Now, let's watch it in slow motion. He plants his hands, launches himself, and lands nice and flat. Here comes the monkey flip. He jumps on his adversary's thigh, grabs the back of his head, and sails him off onto the mat. It wouldn't be very hard to get out of the way of this one, so why don't they? Hey, this is pro wrestling. The sunset flip is used as a surprise finishing move. A wrestler will usually whisper sunset flip to his opponent, then shoot him into the ropes. He'll bend over to give a backdrop, and the other wrestler hooks him around the waist, letting the momentum carry him over to the mat. Then his opponent follows up for the pinfall. Here's another angle on the sunset flip. He whips him into the rope. Boom! He delivers a vicious elbow smash. Now, let's see how it's really done. As the victim comes off the rope, the opponent stretches out his elbow, but look, the elbow barely touches him. From there, the feet go up, and it's bump time. Now, here it is in slow motion. Here we have a savage peel out of the turnbuckles. But what's going on here? He's back on his feet. The opponent hooks his arm under the victim's left arm, takes a couple of steps with him, and then the victim performs a somersault. Doesn't look like he's in much pain, does it? Here's a real popular move these days, the dreaded clothesline. But look, he's getting right up again. He whips him into the rope, catches him with his outstretched arm, and hangs him out to dry. Now, this is how it's done. Just like the elbow smash, the feet go up and he takes a bump, absorbing the impact on his upper back. To the fans, it looks like he's getting his head taken off. But now you know better, don't you? Here we go with a hip toss off the ropes. As the wrestler comes barreling off the rope, he's hooked under the left arm and sent into motion. If this was a match, you'd think this wrestler would pop back up on his feet. No way! He'd lie on the canvas and sell it. He's off the ropes. Ooh, a crippling knee to the midsection. But hang on. There he goes again, but this time in stop action, we can see the knee doesn't even touch him. He's just performing a nice, easy somersault over the knees and then getting up like nothing happened. From this angle, though, it looks brutal. This looks like a killer. A devastating smash to the mat, guaranteed to rattle your teeth. But here's the secret that makes it a breeze for the victim. Watching this stop action, you see the opponent's hands hit the canvas first, absorbing the impact. When performed in a match, this can finish the toughest opponent. When performed for our secret cameras, he bounces right back. Here's one for those bloodthirsty fans, the high vertical suplex. This is a favorite finishing hold for many of the top pros. Our two superstars here are demonstrating the teamwork necessary to pull this one off. Here's the secret. The right hand is posted on the left thigh, very similar to the body slam. And as the wrestler is hauled up, he pushes off with the right hand, making himself light as a feather. The side suplex, when delivered correctly, can really wow the fans. But it's a very easy maneuver for the victim as he is guided to the canvas by his opponent. He lands on his upper back and breaks the fall with his arms. Check it out again. This move is the double underhook, a variation of the suplex. It's another nasty looking fall, but as we've learned, looks can be very deceiving in the world of pro wrestling. By leaping simultaneously while the other wrestler pulls him over, the victim is again guided through the move, landing flat on his back. We've seen other wrestlers finish off opponents with this leg drop before, haven't we? You'd think with 250 pounds crashing down, that leg would crush your chest. But let's look again at the stop action. Here we see the wrestler's rear end strikes the canvas first, absorbing all the impact, and the legs strike the victim's chest with little or no force. He's off the ropes. Oh no, he's caught in the sleeper hold. He's really applying the pressure now. There he goes. He's falling asleep, deep, deep into dreamland. But wait a minute, he's not asleep. This is one that even makes the pros laugh. How some of you fans could believe that this hold is for real. Then again, you believed all those other holds until now. It's a crunching backbreaker, but not really. It's another move of illusion. From the body slam position, the victim is dropped across the knee. By holding the victim firmly, it becomes an easy ride down with a soft stop at the bottom. Uh-oh, looks like a fatal elbow drop. There it is. Now, let's shatter the mystique behind that hold. Once again, caught in stop action, the whole story is told. The body strikes the canvas, absorbing the impact, while the elbow gently falls across the chest. Sorry to shatter your beliefs, but somebody has to do it. A vicious neck breaker like this can lay you up in traction for weeks. Yeah, that's what they'd like you to think, but it just ain't so. When the wrestler straightens out the arm, it's the signal for the other athlete to swing around and land flat on his back. We've saved the best for last. The pile driver looks devastating, but don't believe everything you see. For the victim, it's simply a matter of tucking the chin, grabbing the opponent's thighs, and hanging on for the ride. You can't keep a good man down. Look out! Head into turnbuckle. Wait a second. His hands are hitting first and shielding his head. Notice he's also stomping the mat to make that loud crash. Now that can give you some headache, or can it? Watch closely once again. The hands are slapping the mat first, so his head never touches, and he's up. That sure looks nasty. But yeah, you guessed it. The hands are quicker than the eyes. There's the old eye gouge. He looks maimed. But I guess that's pretty hard to do when you're just rubbing your fingers over your opponent's eyes. Now on the comical side, certainly, a blatant poke in the eyes. This one really could put you out of commission if he actually poked you in the eyes and not the forehead. Look at these vicious cheap shots. This poor guy's gonna be singing soprano after that. But don't get upset. He's hitting him in the keister, not the groin. It's all part of the grand illusion, my friends. He's charging in for the kill. Ooh, another low blow. But this time you know how it's done, right? Well, you're correct. Let's watch. Again, the foot strikes the old can, leaving the family jewels intact. Holy cow! These two monsters have broken out into a slugfest. Look at them trading those vicious blows. Someone's gonna get knocked out cold. Well, maybe not. A vicious blow to the skull, and now a chopping shot to the forehead. You want to know how it's done? Well, the wrestler pulls his punches just short of the mark, and the victim sells the blow violently. Here's one for you guys with sore throats, the ferocious throat chop. A closer look reveals the hand never touching the throat. A magician uses sleight of hand. Well, so does a pro wrestler. Talk about kicking a man when he's down. He's brutally stomping his adversary. But just a little footnote. He stomps with his left foot while he barely touches him with the right. Fourth and 40. Let's punt. What is this? Football? No, it's just pro wrestling. Stomping with the left, lightly graze with the right. A little selling from the wrestler, and once again, you've sold the crowd. They're at it again. He's gonna cave in his chest. Come on now. It's just a matter of popping the meaty part of your forearm against the width of his chest. Sounds painful? It's cake. Here's the wrestler putting down the hammer. He's knocking this guy senseless. As you can see, it's just like the forearms, just like the punches, just like the kicks. It's all in the cell. A necktie party. How can that guy breathe? He's suffocating. Listen, you tell me how he's supposed to choke that guy with those arms draped over the ropes. If we choked all the wrestlers, who would entertain you, pencil-necked geeks? Bon voyage, brother. Have a nice trip. Hope you brought a first aid kit. These barbarians aren't doing any damage. He's grabbing the rope and letting it strike across the top of the chest. The rope springs, snapping him back to the mat.
Come on, boy!
Uh-oh, they're going at it for real. Should be one brutal encounter. Okay, remember what you've learned. The wrestlers have done their bit. Now, make up your own mind. Is it real or is it fake?
Coming soon, Secrets of Pro Wrestling Volume 2. Will the wrestlers reveal their true identities to the world? Only time will tell.